Okay, so we're going to start with a warm-up. This is just as similar as the ones before. Determine the exact value of each. So remember, we're looking for the exact ratio. So if the answer is like 1 over root 2, I want to see 1 over root 2. I don't want to see some decimal answer. And we'll ask the supply teacher to pause the video here and take 5 or 10 minutes and work on these, and then we'll take them up in a moment. Okay, so we're going to start with sine 5 pi over 4. So remember, the process is the same, except we're going to now think in radians. But it's the same as if we had done it in degrees. The first thing we need to do is determine which quadrant we're in. So we draw little axes here. We say 5 pi over 4. 5 pi over 4 is in the third quadrant. Remember, this is pi here, or 4 pi over 4. And 5 pi over 4 would just still be a little bit past that, so we're over here. Okay, so once we know that, then we ask ourselves, from the cast rule, is sine positive or negative in this quadrant? Well, tan is positive, which means sine is negative. So we start off by going negative sine, and then we find the related acute angle. Since right here is 4 pi over 4, and we've gone to 5 pi over 4, the related acute angle is this angle in here, which is 1 pi over 4, or a quarter past. And so it's the same as negative sine pi over 4. Remember, this comes from the cast rule, and this comes from related acute angles. And now we can go to our special triangle, and we'll probably draw that off to the side here to help us remember. So 1, 2, root 3. Remember, this is 30 degrees, or pi over 6. This one is 60 degrees, or pi over 3. These are the, oops. This is 1, 1, root 2. This is the 45 degree one, or pi over 4, and of course they're both 45, so pi over 4. So once I get to this stage here where I have negative sine pi over 4, I now have one of my special angles. So I can go over here and figure out what pi over 4 is. There's pi over 4, sine is opposite over hypotenuse, and it's 1 over root 2, except mine is negative, so I got to make sure it's negative 1 over root 2. Hopefully that's what you got. Okay, looking at the second one, it's secant, so I'll deal with that in a moment. Right now, though, I got to figure out where negative 7 pi over 4. So the big thing we notice is that this is negative, which means I'm going to head in the clockwise direction, or opposite direction. 7 pi over 4 is very close to 8 pi over 4. So if it was 8 pi over 4, we'd go all the way around, but we don't. So we're going all the way around to someplace around here. That's used just to figure out which quadrant we're in. So we're in the first quadrant, so everything is positive. So this one's going to be positive secant. Now, I know secant is the reciprocal of cosine, so I would, if I was someplace else, I'd have to see if the cosine was positive. That would tell me if the secant is positive. In this case, they're all positive, so we're okay. And now we have to figure out the related acute angle. Well, since this whole rotation is 7 pi over 4 in the negative direction, one extra one would get me to 8 pi over 4, or 2 pi. So that means the related acute angle is just pi over 4. So then this is going to be the same as positive secant pi over 4. And this is one of those instances where the pi over 4 is not only the related acute angle, but it's also a coterminal angle. Because if you just went positive pi over 4, you'd end up at the same spot. Nonetheless, secant is a reciprocal of cosine. So I'm going to imagine in my head what the cosine is. Cos of pi over 4. I look here and see that if that's pi over 4, cosine is adjacent over hypotenuse. So it's 1 over root 2. But I don't want the cosine, I want the secant. And remember, I'm disappointed at secant. And so it's just root 2 over 1, or just plain old root 2. I'm just going to copy this triangle and this triangle. So that I can bring it over to the next page. And then I'll tackle number 3 and 4. Next time we're looking at is tan 5 pi over 6. So again, we're going to set up our chart here. Where's 5 pi over 6? Well, 6 pi over 6 is just pi. This is just short of it. So 5 pi over 6 is right here. Go to the cast rule. Sine is positive in the second quadrant. Therefore, I'm asking for tan, so it's negative tan of something. It's similar to the related acute angle. Again, I've gone 5 pi over 6. One more would get me 6 pi over 6. So the related acute angle is pi over 6. Now I go to my triangle, find out where 5 or pi over 6 is. It's right here. Tan is opposite over adjacent. And so it is negative 1 over root 3. Okay, and last one is asking for the cosine of negative 19 pi over 6. So again, we got to figure out which quadrant we're in. Negative 19 pi over 6. So that's going to put me in the opposite direction. But the thing I'm noticing right away is 19 pi over 6 is pretty big. And I think it's more than one rotation. When I stop and think about it, if I'm dealing with pi over 6, one full rotation is 2 pi, which is 12 pi over 6. So if I take that away, or in this case, it'd be like adding it because I'm going the opposite direction, the difference is 7 pi over 6. So when I'm doing my rotation this one, I know I'm going to go one full rotation. There's my 12 pi over 6, or 2 pi. And then I go even further, I go 7 pi over 6. So negative 7 pi over 6 is going to put me in this quadrant. So one full rotation is this part in the negative direction. So if I did minus minus, that's why it's plus. So one full rotation gets rid of 12 of them. I still have 7 left in the negative direction. So 7 more pi's over 6. Well, this would be negative 6 pi over 6. Just going in that direction. It doesn't matter if it's negative or positive. But the negative 7 would put me one more, and here is negative 7 pi over 6. So the first thing I'm noticing is that this has a coterminal angle of negative 7 pi over 6. You might even be more comfortable in describing it in the positive direction and say that it was 5 pi over 6. Doesn't really matter which coterminal angle you use, because your next spot is to say, okay, which quadrant am I in? And I'm definitely in this quadrant over here. Cast rule says CAST. Sine's positive, so in this quadrant, I need a negative. And then I need the related acute angle. And the related acute angle is this angle here, towards the nearest x-axis. You see that this part got me negative 6 pi over 6, and I went one further. So that's pi over 6 is the related acute angle. So I can say it's negative cos pi over 6. this coming from the cast rule, and this being the related acute angle. Good news is I'm asked to find pi over 6, so it's the same angle up here. Except this time, instead of tan, I'm asked to find cos, so it's adjacent over hypotenuse. And I got a big negative in front of it, so it's negative root 3 over 2. So hopefully you had some success with that in the warm-up and in the practice last night. And that'll be an important step as we move forward.